Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this episode of Dude, I Want That Job, featuring Colt Moncla. Colt is a Beaumont, Texas native. He's the owner of a very successful New Braunfels roofing company called Cool Roofs. And on this episode, we talk about the current generation in which we live in and the scope on how it relates to technology and business. He gets into a little of his story and how he got to where he is today. And we just talk about just the wonderful opportunities of this world. So sit back, relax, or if you're driving, keep those eyes on the road and enjoy. Thanks so much, guys. Peace. What was your first job?
So I've only had an hourly paying job for a week. I worked at a golf course, country club.
There you go.
I was out of here because I remember it was like coming up October and my birthday falls on ACL, and I was like, hey man, I'm going to ACL. He's like, I have you scheduled to work that week. I was like, he's like, you can't go. I need you to work. And I was like, no, that's not going to work. So since then, like I've just always desired freedom and having the ability of creating my own schedule, what I wanted to do. So the only way to do that was working for myself. And so I didn't really tell a little bit about me just so that, like, people have a better understanding. We've just been talking about business and whatnot. But, I went to Texas State. When I got in Texas State, I joined the network marketing industry. I grew a massive organization in numerous countries, a lot of different states within the United States, and learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about dealing with people, learned a lot about how to bring a product to specific marketplaces, not only just within the United States, but other countries as well. The most valuable thing that I learned about that was the first word of that whole industry called network marketing was my network. I've met some of the most incredible people at a young age that are really doing big things now. And we met at kind of an equal playing field of knowing that we had a definite purpose. We had a definite desire for success. We just had to add that action to it. We had the knowledge. And real quick, the most powerful thing in life is not knowledge. The most powerful thing within business and life is applied knowledge. Like we talked a lot about how we can have access to information, but without the result of application, nothing will come out of it. Like so many people like, I believe in the law of attraction. I'm reading this book. I'm doing this. I want to make $1 million a month. I'm like, well, if you don't apply anything, nothing's going to happen. So I just want to shoot that out there real quick.
No.
Law of attraction is going to happen to me. BMW in my mind. None of that works. You have to have a definite plan of action in order to get there. So I met all these individuals and had a blast, but something happened within the company to where, I myself left, a lot of leaders left, and I came into a place where like I spent way more money than I had. As Jim Rohn said, I had way too much month at the end of the money because I was blowing money. And I learned a huge lesson there, which was just great for me. But I spoke with my father. I said, hey, at this time, what should I do in order to create, a stream of income? He's like, you should look into door-to-door sales and really work on your salesmanship and becoming and defining a better you. So I said, not a problem. So I found a roofing company at the time. I worked with them for quite some time. I handled all their sales, marketing, development, built the sales teams, worked on that. And then that guy shut his office down because he was not handling money and managing it poorly. So then I just decided to start my own roofing company. This was like 6.5, 7 years ago. So that's when we did Cool Roofs, the roofing company that we have now. We service all of Texas. We're growing it. We're opening an office in Memphis right now. We've got our nationwide site. We're taking our system that we've built here and we're growing that nationwide, just kind of duplicating it out. And so that's our baby. That's what really rock and rolls. The company's called Cool Roofs out of New Braunfels. And so a huge focus of mine, and then my business partner and I, as well as with the environment of individuals we work with, we branch out and we build other companies. Like I'm a part of a company now. I sit on the board. It's one of my favorite projects that we're working on. It's called 217 Solutions, which is based off 2 Timothy 1:7. And really we're finding products to take to the marketplace that us ourselves can manufacture. So right now we've got a wipe called Simply, which is a wipe that is used as disinfectant wipe for hospital chains. And then we're working right now on the development of a glove factory. We're going to be producing nitrile gloves. So a lot of projects here and there, but it's really just like, people are like, like why, how, whatever. It's like, look, you just find yourself in an environment of people who think the same as you, who act the same as you, who grow with you and have that same level of vibration and energy going forward, that it's not hard to do so. You're just putting in the when you're working with people just as hard as you, and things get done. Knowledge is being applied, value is being brought to marketplace. And once all that's into place, then that determines the reward that you in return receive. And that's your income, that's your revenue. And so that's where we're at today. Business is I couldn't see myself doing anything different. Just waking up every day, looking in the mirror, and knowing that if it's to be, it's up to me, is a great feeling.
You're right. That's important, man. And I think you having that drive through the way you were brought up and through your routine and through, applying these things that you've read has really gotten you to the point to where you are today. And it's awesome to hear that. Back to what you were talking about when you were talking about how you can't just say, like the law of attraction, you can't just be like, I want $1 million and I'm going to get $1 million without putting in the application or the work. What do you, for everyone out there listening, and maybe just for me to understand too, like what is your daily routine? Like, I know in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, I know in even kind of talking about it in the compound effect, and even Gary Vee and all them talk about it, is routine. You need to have a routine. You need to have, ways in which, habits are built, and you need to have goals. What does that look like on your end? Do you have like a set routine every day, or things that you must do? Like, you keep lists? What works for you?
Yeah, no. So I mean, every business has a CRM that we organize everything in. So that like in regards to list, it's just the oversight of seeing how things are running.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, like, I understand routine is very important, but every day is different. Of course, in regards to when I wake up is the same. I start out by going to the gym because I think health is everything, wellness is everything. But after that, I mean, every day is different. Every company is going to have its challenges. Every company is going to have its problems that's going to need a solution. And these things happen. Like, I see so many podcasts and talk shows where like everything's sunshine and rainbows. Like,
sure.
Not the case. Every day, like, dude, there's shit that's happening. Jim Rohn says it. All business is opportunity followed by difficulty. Like, here's a plain example. Locked in a 57 roof contract. We're doing 57 roofs, one roof a day, Monday through Saturday. I have the crews to do it, everything. I lock in the contract. We start it. Well, guess what? One of my crews leaves. Opportunity followed by difficulty. Why? They're getting paid an astronomical amount of money. I don't blame them. By a different contractor that traveled in out of town that just is blowing money to get things done.
Yeah.
But, we treat them well. They love us, but they left for a much more exuberant amount of pay than I could ever afford. But
yeah.
Followed by difficulty. So what have I been doing? We develop solutions to keep this thing going. So I just look at it as like, you always want to create systems, which is systems saves you time, energy, and money, stress. That's a system. So every day is just revolving. Hey, how can we perfect the system? How can we put another person in place? How can we do this? That's my day every single day. It always revolves on the same stuff, but it's different. If we have a problem here, we learn how can we take a step back, put that in a system, who in our swim lane of our company can handle this, and then they move forward flawlessly. So it's always just building a better company every single day, if that makes sense to you. Like, but I can't say like, oh, I do this, and it's the same every day. It's just not the case. Like,
yeah,
half the time it's me doing shit that I really don't want to do. And that, like, I see a lot of, I hate like the people on Instagram. A lot of you've asked me, a lot of people,
swipe up.
A lot of people ask how to be successful. All right, well, first off, I hate all of them. But second, I bring that up because I hate saying, like, I see a lot of people. I've said that a lot of times, but I do. And I see them say like, oh, to be an entrepreneur, you need to do this, you need to do that, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like that. Like, first off, you don't just say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like, if you have an idea and you have something you want to take to the marketplace, you've a lot of times got to do shit that you don't want to do. Like I knocked doors for 3 years to finally build an infrastructure to get where I am today. You think I wanted to knock doors every single day at
No.
22, 23 years old while I was in college at the time to build a company? Not a chance. But there's just like huge image where like people aren't really saying what needs to be said or what really needs to be an entrepreneur. Like here it is, dude. Business 101, dealing with people. There's the definition, 100%. What is business? Dealing with people. Every day. That's all it is, just dealing with individuals, their problems, internal, external. That's it every day. Sorry, I kind of
no. I'm loving this. This is exactly what I wanted, man. I think you have a great point. And I was talking to, I forget who I was talking to about it the other day with, and I think you're 100% right, man, that business is people, man, and it's all about management of, their stresses, their feelings, their opinions, like that. You got to take that all into account, I think, and it's important to do that, and I think that you obviously do a very good job of that, and that's super good to hear.
Just one last comment. Like I just like kind of talked about the cupcake. Let me throw a cherry on it real quick.
Give me a cherry.
I'll give you a cherry. Delicious cupcakes, by the way.
Mm.
It's here's one thing. If you're a business owner and you're going through a lot of stress, or if you're someone who's getting into business and you're like, oh, this is hard, blah, blah, it all works out. Like, I don't know, like someone listening to this would be like, I get what he means. And then someone listening to this down the road will be like, I understood what he meant. It all works out. Any problem, there's problems every day, but every problem has a solution and it always works out. So the energy that you take to just throw at it and get upset and just get defeated in that time, know that it works out. And we forget about that. Like if you're a business owner now, look back on every day that you had a problem. It always worked out. There was always a solution.
Yeah.
And so most people get worked up. It's that law, consume, or no, what is it? React, respond. Like, don't be a reactive business owner. Don't react to situations. Take a massive step back and maturely understand how to respond to it. Responsiveness is always way better than reactive. Like I don't know why I threw that tidbit in there, but too many people just get so reactive. They get upset. They just like ruin deals. They ruin relationships because they're not communicating effectively. They're reacting to situations rather than understanding how to maturely take a step back, analyze, and respond to it to create a better solution. So anyways, that was like way off the cuff, but I just thought it needed to be said.
No, I don't think it really is off the cuff, man. I think that's organic, like we were talking about earlier, and I think that this is kind of, you're just talking from experience, but you're also talking from a passionate, stance on where you're at, and I think that that's completely okay, man. I think that you're very accurate in all that you say, because you're right. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I think that it does work out. Now, whether that working out is maybe a job falls through, but guess what? Another one will come if you keep going. Or like there is contingency plans to everything. If you look at it in the mindset of, hey, I'm still healthy. I'm all right. I still have, air in my lungs, sight in my eyes, and a brain that's still cognitively pretty much all there still. So I'm healthy and I'm fine. I'm gonna keep pushing, keep going. And I think it's important, man. So when you started, you said you were knocking on doors and all that for the roofing and all that, to where you're at now. Like, how much money did it cost for you to start your business? Like, did you take a loan out? What got you off your feet? Did you go from like literally a bank account of nothing to something just with hard work? Or do you mind kind of talking about that and where you kind of got started and how, like I know you got into, you're talking about cryptocurrency. Would you say that money that you made through the crypto market kind of helped you leapfrog, your business and put your money in multiple different areas? Like, what's that look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. And I thank my business partner, Dustin, for this. He's really on point, like watches to a penny.
Mhm.
And man, I could go so many ways with this. To answer your question on crypto, no. Since the day I've bought, I've never sold. I've only bought more. So like,
Okay.
no, that's just that's long term. I saw a cool explanation the other day. It's like crypto short terms like this, crypto long terms like this. So I'm just gonna stay long. I believe in
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
think it's, but I've only theory. That's conversation for another day. Now,
Yeah.
investment as far as for a company, um, when it comes to like a roofing company, no, there's a connotation that you have to have investment capital to start a business.
Sure.
When the ones that I see uh, that are close in my environment of entrepreneurs, they just hit the pavement. They had nothing. They had that drive to just go out and create wealth. Like my buddy Cody Barton, I'll get you on with him.
Yeah.
Probably flips more homes than anybody I've ever met, and
Wow.
and he's only 20, 26, worth buku money,
Yeah.
very, but worked his face off, cold calling. He was doing wholesale, trying to do wholesale deals. But you know, we just knocked doors and we saved money, and just kept reinvesting and growing, and then got this thing running. Found out the system of revenue of what we needed to do, what it took, and everything. And I used to go to Capital Factory. They would ask me. Capital Factory is a place here within Austin where like tech startups would go and pitch their ideas, and it just always like fascinated me. They would ask me to speak there, and I spoke on a conservative side of business where like I own traditional type businesses. I don't have an idea. I'm asking for capital, but it blew my mind. I'm like, these guys here are asking for X amount of dollars for an idea that they have. That doesn't make sense to me. If I have an idea, I would take that to the marketplace, create revenue, and then go get capital to start a business.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so
similar to what they do on like Shark Tank, to where they have to have a line of credit essentially.
100%. And I've seen those who've really made success out of my group. Those are the ones that didn't take any financial capital. They created it themselves and then grew. They might have taken some as of now,
Yeah.
but really just hit the pavement stupid hard, created that revenue, and then just built their companies.
Hmm. Yeah, that's important, man, and that's why it's always interesting for me to hear these stories and things because you're right, and and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, dude. The business evolution. You either grow or you die. You either put that sweat equity in, man, or you're just going to be there complaining about 10 years later. Well, I could have had this company, but it
Well,
didn't work out.
because they're attacked by their own limited beliefs. They
Correct.
limit saying, well, I'm too young, or I don't have the proper skill set, or I don't have enough time in the day, or I don't want to leave the job that I currently have because I'm comfortable, or I don't have enough startup capital in order to do this. They're just fed with so much BS, but the only BS is their own beliefs that are limiting themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-limitation, and I know even in my life sometimes I do that. Even with this podcast, I've since having a YouTube channel in the past and doing Instagram and YouTube and stuff for years now, I've seen how there hasn't been much progression in my followership and stuff. And a lot of that is just, I think, out of laziness. But now that I'm getting older, I remember having that like insecure mindset to where I was like, man, well, what if like people don't like it? Like, what if the content I'm creating isn't good enough? If it, and I would get in my own head before I even made the content and posted it.
I heard the most powerful thing the other day. They're like, everyone's so concerned about what other people think, when in reality, the other people are just thinking about themselves and what
Dude,
they think. So it's like,
100%.
cares. Like it doesn't. And so that's why I believe in the power of just like content. Like if I had a podcast, it would just be like content, like nonstop. And then
Yeah.
what's next? Like that's what all the greats do. They just have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like one of my best friends is here right now. Trey Savery is my business partner. We do everything together.
Yeah.
with him, we need to do a podcast with him. So now, I've got like a list of people to do podcasts.
Yeah, we'll connect that to this about that.
Dude, just the power of content and bringing that content to the marketplace and just go. That's the most important thing of business. Like for us on Google My Business, we're posting photos like nonstop of roofs that we do. A lot of it is shitty. No matter post it. You know what I mean? Post it.
Yeah.
And then what happens? But you nailed it, man. If I take anything out of this whole entire podcast that we've done,
yeah,
care way too much what other people think in the world of business, and it stops them. It halts them. When in reality, life check. You can take it how you want it. You can call me a liar. You can go fact check this on Wikipedia. No one cares.
You're right, man. And you know what I've noticed is all these people, the Paul brothers, all of them, you know, like I talk about them actually a lot on this podcast because there's so much that you can learn from those guys. They're doing such a good job at hyping themselves up and marketing themselves, man. And you know, they've even said, dude, you know, they're like, you know, I don't really care what you think of me. I don't care if you like my videos, you know, and they constantly are in this state of controversy. But you know what, man? They're crushing it. They're doing extremely well because they don't care about anyone or anything what they have to say. And dude, you know, one of the guy who owns, you know, Lions Not Sheep, Sean Whalen. Have you heard of him? Business? Dude, he posted something on Instagram the other day and it blew my mind. And it goes on to what we're talking about. How, dude, Van Gogh, they said, painted over like 50,000 paintings in his lifetime. But there's only a couple hundred that you know about. Maybe. I mean, I only know maybe of like 3 or 4. What I'm saying is if he didn't put those 50, yeah, maybe 2, like maybe, dude, but out of 50,000. So that it's just a sobering reality, man, of like, you need to be consistent and you need to make, you know, a lot of stuff for the quality to come out. Because, you know, if you were going to look at my first YouTube video compared to my last YouTube video, you know, when I was vlogging, dude, it's night and day difference. And it's because you learn and you see and you react and people are like, I really liked when you did that transition, or I really liked how you did that song with this. Like, and you're like, okay, next time that's what I'm going to do then. And
I really like seeing that within network marketing when like you would have like an event, you're like, hey, you're speaking. So I'd be like, oh no, I don't do public speaking. And then like 3 years later, they're like running an event in a very
they're headlining it.
Yeah, just because what do? They did event after event after event after event after event, Zoom call after Zoom call after Zoom call after call after call, and they became comfortable with mastering their craft. Like they just needed to take that one step out to really sharpen and define their tools of, you know, speaking in front of people, how they carried themselves, the way that they communicated, because that's a big thing. Like, you know, we don't become successful. I mean, not just from hard work. We become successful by molding ourselves into the individual that can really adapt to that success. Like, real quick, for example, if you came to me with an opportunity and I never embarked on this road towards what it is that I've come to today.
Yeah.
And then you approach me in an opportunity of me being me today, that opportunity would not only look different, but it would be executed completely different.
100%.
Like if you brought it to me without any of the skill set or any of the time that I put in personal development, reading, growth, experience is the biggest one. The experience that I've gone through in the world of business, I wouldn't be prepared for it. I wouldn't be able to take it on. And so that's what I find very important is like always sharpening your tools, always working on yourself, always reading the books, always finding that person that you kind of mirror yourself with. My people are those people in that council that I really look up to, that I really have a sense of value from. And I want to mold myself to just carry myself like them, speak like them, you know, bring that value that they bring in the same light. So that's just important. Like most people just don't work on themselves. They're too worried about other people and scrolling and looking what Betty Sue and John are doing in Puerto Rico and all this stuff. It's like, yo, turn that off and build a better you. Like God created us as creators to really become, do, say, whatever it is that we want to become in correspondence to building his kingdom. But, you know, that, oh, wow, I'm getting blown up. That we overlook that, though. We don't take advantage of that. And rather we just like fill in a slump and just go work for somebody else or just kind of get comfortable doing something else.
No, you're right. And I mean, God created us to be creators, but also stewards, man, of that. And I think that how you steward your time is, where you end up going. And I guess I mean, I know I've been taking up a lot of your time, and I know you got some work to do, but the big thing that I want to know about, and we've kind of briefly talked about it a little bit, but if you could give advice to, anyone listening, especially, if there's, like high schoolers, kids getting out of college, people getting out of a job they hate, or they just have that feeling inside of them like, hey, I want to be doing something different in my life, and I want to get into entrepreneurship or the roofing industry or anything like that. You know, like looking back at your whole 6 years or whatever to where you are today, what advice would you give them on that? Pros and cons, like what's the bad side of it? What's like the authentic real side, but what's the great side of it too?
Yeah, there's a lot of bad is only what you make it.
Sure.
That parallel to what we were saying earlier. There's going to be a lot of problems that come up, but it's all, having that fortified rhino skin and fortified mindset into getting through it, into, finding solutions. Like you have to realize nothing, and Trey will agree to this, nothing is going to work the way that you think it's going to work. Nothing is going to be the way that you think it's going to go as planned. It's not. It's always a formality of switching it up every single day to get from A to Z. And it's different. Like they have those like little pictures on Instagram where it's like the map of success is like, woo. No, it's more like, woo, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Being understanding of that is what shapes you. It's what molds you. It's God using you and developing you through all these times to create that right person. Because like you might think you're going this way with this person, but he's like, oh no, you might have spent a lot of hours here, but I've got a better road for you this way. And so like understanding what goes through, but like that, I don't really see any cons of it. Everything that I've done in my journey of business, I'm very grateful for. I find to be just like it's all experience driven every day to build a better me. So the advice that I would give somebody is, look, if you've got a job now, work part-time on a passion. Work part-time on something that you and self have an immense interest of, that you can see yourself building a business or like having a successful business with. Too many times people like are like, I quit 9 to 5 or I quit this, I quit that just to go all in. Don't do that. Work part-time on your fortune and then work every day on your job, because and we've got enough time. You can work 9 to 4 and then still have 5 to 10 to work on your part-time thing. And in that time, categorize it to where you're really focused on it and getting things done, setting the proper goals to do it. Don't just jump in. So like use that as an ability to part-time grow that. And then I think the best advice I would is like, look, knowledge is great, but take it and apply it. Get out and shake hands. Get out and grow a network. Get out and meet the right people. Whatever you're passionate about, go to events. Google events that are, specialize in X, Y, Z, and meet the individuals who are throwing the events. Consistently follow, people's clues, follow people's success, and just become obsessed with meeting people that are professionals, whatever workplace it is. That's something that I would definitely suggest. Like, dude, my life is 1,000% determined by the people that I've been fortunate to meet. That's all I have to say.
No, that's good. And it actually leads me into the last question I have for you. And it's you were talking about having, like an accountability group and a sphere of influence and a group of guys in which, that are in your circle. For those people out there who are kind of like, I don't know anyone in my new city, in my new school, like, what's the best way to network? Like, what's the best way? And even this is a good plug for you. How can people reach out to even you if they have questions?
Instagram's a great tool. There's a lot of BS on it. A lot of people who are scammers, but follow people and just like closely look at the content that they put. If they're just a humble individual and someone that's doing well within the world of business, definitely reach out to them. I think that's definitely something important. Look on Facebook. We used to put our Facebook group up of the Entreminds group and events that we're meeting and go in and meet people. we forget that not like every single time we're going to find it, but we might meet somebody somewhere that will then lead us to the right thing that then gets us to where we need to go.
Mm.
I like to utilize Instagram. I'm always networking. I mean, I met some of my closest friends on Instagram, people that my buddy Chase Salzar. He's young. He's 22. He's got a huge heart. He's doing big things. And he just reached out to me one day. He said, "Hey, man, I've been following you. I think it's aspiring what it is that you've done thus far. I'd love to have the opportunity to meet with you and smoke a cigar." Went and smoked a cigar. He's one of my closest friends now. I got a guy, Aaron Warline, who, and did the same thing, similar to one. Reached out to him. I said, "Yeah, perfect. Let's meet at Starbucks." We met at Starbucks, became good friends. He's, traveled with us. He's worked with us on different projects. I mean, it's just all about, like just dive in, meet people who are doing what you want to do, or, and just have these conversations. It's cool. Go into like large organizations or people who own a company and whatnot, and just mesh them and be like, "Look, I'm an aspiring young entrepreneur. I'm an aspiring young business developer, owner, or, I'm working 9 to 5 right now, but I'm looking to get out of that for, I think I have a product I'd like to bring to the marketplace. Sir, can I have 30 minutes of your time to buy you coffee? Sir, can I have an hour of your time to buy you lunch?" And go sit in front of these. I have a friend, Mason, who literally, when he found interest in the world of business, he went and just lined up meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting with people who own companies and just had a list of questions, had a numerous amount of questions and asked them. And some of them he became good friends with because they respected the fact that a young individual walks in, meets with them, asks them questions, and it built a bond.
Guys, once again, thank you so much for tuning in so far on this episode with Colt Moncla. I just wanted to give a quick shout out again to him for coming on today. And if you guys are interested in a new roof or know anyone who needs one, make sure to go to coolroofsinctx.com. They do residential roofing, commercial roofing, and more. So enjoy the rest of this podcast. Thanks for listening.
Three roofs a day right
now. No way.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's what you work for, but it's cool. Like just like that focus of, we took a huge step back. And really, as I told you, just took like a dominant focus on developing our brand on Google, because being a roofing company, as I even discussed this with you, you can if you needed a roof, where would you go?
I'd look on Google and type in roofing companies near me.
100%. And so that's what so many people in the roofing industry, they focus on like Facebook, they focus on Instagram and whatnot. When we're like, "Yo, let's just go all in on Google." And so what I'm getting at is, well, it worked. So I mean, it's crazy. Now, compound effect, that is, as I know you've been reading that book as well. It's a fantastic book. I love it. He's like the Success Magazine dude.
Really?
Yeah. So he was a huge role in Success Magazine. I saw him speak at a conference when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
16 or 17. He spoke about it, and that's when that book came out. And that's he was on like his conference tour to push that book. And it's fantastic, dude. It's just such a simplistic nature. You just do a little bit of positive every day. It's just going to hit that big mo, as he talks about, which is the big mo. Game over.
Jeez. Well, dude, I was talking to my brother-in-law about Scott. I was like, "Yo, you know Scott?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's in Austin. I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "My buddy Colt is going through him." He's like, "No way." He was like, "Is he the one doing the Mattress Mac deal?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like,
"No way." He knew about that deal?
Yeah.
That's crazy. It is a big deal for them too. Like Scott and Southern Shingles excited because they're going to be putting together a banner with us. I guess their logo and our logo. And so this house overlooks Lake Travis, and there's just so much like traffic that goes through there on the water.
Yeah.
The only downfall is we are doing it October 1st. So I doubt. So, I mean, sometimes there's good weather in October, but who knows? But it's going to be cool. I know that they're really excited for that job.
Yeah. No, and that's what he was saying. He was just like, "Yeah, dude, this can be a huge job." And when I was telling him, I was like, "Yeah, bro, this guy has like a gigantic ass mansion and guest house." And he was just like, "I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit."
It is 10 bedrooms, 10 baths. That's a lot of toilets. I mean, it's just a massive.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot of plumbing. Like, like think about the amount of water consumption, electrical shit, like things that we don't really think about. Like even you, maybe you as a business owner, but you know what I mean? Like all this shit you don't normally think about that adds up if you have a mansion over a 2-bedroom.
Like if I happen to be a maid service, I think my least favorite aspect of the job would be cleaning the toilets. So just imagine you have that contract. You're like, dude, I've got 10 toilets today. I mean, that's
Well, dude, you know what's even more crazy is like the people who do they do like the cleanup services for like murder scenes. Could you imagine that job?
yeah.
I don't know. But all right, man. Yeah. So with this podcast, bro, pretty much just talk so the big thing with you, man, and what we talked about your house is, dude, obviously you're killing it in the business sector. You have multiple businesses, all that stuff. I guess the big thing that I like to always tell people is just to paint a picture, like the hero story. People love the hero story. Where you started, like where you were born, where you grew up, where you went to school, and just talk about your progression to, maybe how you got into business and where you're at today, So
Yeah, really. I know when you called me the other day, you said we're going to do the podcast. I'll send you the questions. I said, let's just do it off the rip. I want to be as organic as possible. Like
absolutely.
If I'm going to be free, I'm going to be me, bro. That's just it. I'm simple, white tee, backwards hat.
Absolutely.
Flash. It's business is different these days. But anyways, I say that normal average dude. My father is my biggest inspiration. He's my mentor. He's also introduced me to other mentors who have really shaped the paradigm of how I look at business, how I look at the day-to-day operations. I'm going to turn my phone over because it's going to keep blowing up and it's going to distract me. I've got ADD. But my father just really showed into me really the characteristics of what it takes to be a successful business operator, business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through like the teachings that he gave me. It's more importantly just through his actions. So our family company is located in Beaumont, Texas. I'm originally from Beaumont. I live in Austin, Texas now. But my father's grandfather started Moncla's, which is our company today, and it's a 103-year-old company.
Okay.
And we're like, so what is it? Well, what was it? What is it? You can ask both questions because over 103 years, you have to evolve to really meet with the marketplace, determining the value of what you bring in order to be a continuous company. And so it started as a first delicatessen, how you say, restaurant within Beaumont, first air-conditioned restaurant in Southeast Texas. Accomplishment, something cool. Like you've seen the newspaper articles that I have here.
Yeah.
On my wall. It's like different time in air, how much food was then as what it is now. And so they've just evolved. They went to building base camps for the oil companies, to National Guards. And now they have a like little mini convenience store business through all the chemical plants. It's a self-checkout, which is doing like exceptionally well. So I've always seen the involvement of my father and just the steps that he took. So I always like joke with people like, yo, I didn't grow up in a normal household. I was lucky to grow up at like an entrepreneur table, but my dad was a family man as well. Because I think a lot of people that I've seen even in today's time, they go and they be an entrepreneur and they just focus so much on it that they forget about the day to day. But I was blessed to have a father that not only just like coached me in every sport, coached all my brothers, was a part of everything, but then still built the business, which really is something I'm just like super grateful for. And it gave him that freedom to do so, even though he worked super hard. So anyways, that's where I come from. Like I said, my father introduced me to other entrepreneurs such as Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Earl Schoaf, Napoleon Hill with Think and Grow Rich, Dale Carnegie with How to Win Friends and Influence People. He's always instilled, and you've seen the painting. I've got like a 6-foot painting.
Yeah.
My council of people who I've really felt have impacted my life. Some that I've met, some that of course I haven't because they're deceased. God bless them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a picture of me eating dinner with my father, who's of course my role model. Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, and then Bob Proctor and Les Brown. And so most people are like, oh, you're all into motivation. No, I'm all into compressing time frames. I like to learn about these individuals' lives that were 60 years, 50 years, some 80 years. And in a book, I compress that 80 years into, it takes me a while to read, maybe a month, but it's just so cool to see what they did, what they learned in business, the systems that they put into place in order to grow, because I really believe in delegation. You have to, in order to duplicate, you have to delegate. And so that's one of the biggest things I've learned from them. But anyways, that's a little about myself as far as why I have an interest in business. And that's what, ask away other questions.
Yeah, man. So, well, actually, to go back to what we were just talking about with you and I guess your counsel or your, like your idols, the people you look up to, your mentors, whether you know them or not. Dude, it brought to my mind how like lucky we are to be living in this generation. If you think about it, man, like the first thing that came to my mind is when you were like, I'm trying to compress everything. And, Zig Ziglar, Tony, like you're having some of the biggest minds, biggest personalities in the business and motivation sphere at your fingertips, dude, within like 5 seconds.
Right.
I think that alone is so like special. Like think about like how your dad grew up or your grandfather, when they were starting these businesses. They didn't have Google, and I think like what a time to be living in, man, that we are so blessed to where from a click of a button, we can literally have everything at our fingertips. I mean, would you agree that it's the best generation for business and growth?
There's literally no better time in human existence.
Yeah.
All tools are there for you to do so. All education is there for you to do so. I mean, like you go to college and you major in business, they don't even teach you how to build a business. They're old school. They only teach you how to work for a business in itself. I've had friends. I didn't get accepted to McCoy Business. I've spoken at one of their graduation classes, which is really cool.
Wow.
But they don't teach. They just teach more managerial skills and finance and different things that, quite frankly, that's a whole different story. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But anyways, I'll be cool. So you're right with Google, with the access to information. That's the most important thing, access to information as of right now, having the ability. Now, if you focus on it properly, we don't even live in a great world where we can prosper, but we live in a great world in a negative outfit where we can really get distracted easily. And those who are mature to know enough and really use this whole information era as a tool to grow can really create success for themselves. I've got some friends right now who created an informational company that teaches kids how to trade, or teach young adults, older adults, whatever, how to trade in the Forex market. They sell information, but their information, once applied, is really changing people's lives. And so rather than going to college and investing 60, 70K in a tuition, they've got individuals who pay 100 to 180 bucks a month, building a skill set, learning how to take that to the marketplace and creating wealth for themselves, which is cool that we can do that in today's era. I think it's fascinating.
No, dude, I agree with you, man. And, even like from my perspective, dude, like, and we've talked, like, I'm trying to, I'm getting on the military and I don't have a full college degree. And it's insane to see, as I'm trying for new jobs and trying to find where, I'm supposed to be. The big thing that keeps coming to mind to me is like, is a college degree, a standard college degree really worth it in today's day and age? Now, you're right. You have your finance classes, your management classes, you have your accounting classes, business development classes. Is it better to maybe take those classes only if you can and leave out all the BS, or would you say from where your stance is in the industry, how relevant is a 4-year degree over learning it through a coach, learning it through YouTube University, and just life experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's a few things that I'll say to that. An answer will fit an individual differently. So depending on their circumstance, depending on who they are, then I would agree, yes, that individual might need a college degree, that individual might not. Now, if somebody wanting to create their own business and they're very passionate and they're an individual who's a go-getter, they understand hustling, they understand you're going to get knocked down to get up, they understand investing 7 years to 6 years in developing a company in order to get an ROI, they understand everything that goes into it with a clear and definite purpose in order to get it done. That person does not need college. That person doesn't need direction, who already knows what they want. And I'll say that now before I even go into that though, but if someone who wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, they're passionate about a specific career that takes college as a form of education to get them to where it is that they want to be, 100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's an avenue because you have to have it. But
prerequisite, yeah,
someone who has a creative nature and a skill set to bring valuable products, valuable services, valuable ideas to the marketplace. I necessarily think the only positive aspect of college is just the experience side of it and learning how to meet people, learning how to network, and learning how to build that side of it. That's a very, very valuable piece that I took out of college. But as far as things that I've learned within the classroom, I've never applied. It's not what I needed for my business. And I say this piggybacks off of what you were just saying, is this is one of the greatest eras to be alive in order to build a business. I say is because all my companies are cloud-based companies. And I say that, meaning we don't have an office. Like I look at my, it's an old school company, and I'm slowly developing it to get it to where it doesn't have to be the way that it is established. Is like you walk in his office and he's got like the bookkeeper in there. He's got like the financial sector here. He's got, accounting. He's got all these different segments that are put together under one roof. Well, we don't live in that era anymore.
Sure.
And so, for instance, as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, I don't need to know finance because I pay a cloud-based company that's linked to all my accounts utilizing technology and just bookkeeps for us. I've got an admin that keeps everything organized that works from home somewhere. So like, yeah, it's cool that we can delegate properly to companies and outfits that did get that degree to put to use to bring their value to where I can focus on the growth, the passion, the development of the company, knowing that I've outsourced everything in my company to where they're not coming every day and sitting under one roof in an office, old school, like my father still does. It's all transition. So I look at business in today's time as you just find puzzle pieces to bring the whole puzzle together. Now, back then with technology and the lack of communication to make things happen, it was harder to find those puzzle pieces to really bring everything together. But now successfully, as we can find people through Facebook, through Instagram, through, I've got people who work with me who don't even live in Texas that operate a Texas-based company. It's easy to find each puzzle piece to bring together to build a business. So that's why I also piggyback on that. Where like you asked about college, yes, it's great for those who need it, but for those who are very passionate in themselves to understand that, hey, look, I'm just going to put valuable people together, and I'll get what I want. That's it.
That's super interesting, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, man. And I think we're starting to see, like you said, we're starting to see a new generational shift. And I was talking to a couple of friends, and even talking to Sam, or you, like when Sam was telling me, he's like, oh, you want to make a website, you want to make this, make that. He's like, there's services out there. He's like, yeah, they might be a little bit of money, but in a way you're kind of automating it to where you're paying people to do other things. Or if you have these businesses, you're paying people who are specialized in those niches to do their job. And in doing that, who knows, they might be servicing out to someone else, and just, it could be a chain reaction. But I think you're completely right in that, man. And I think we're going to start it. I'm curious to see how it transitions with the course of time, in the sense of, who was it? It was one of the Democratic candidates back like a couple years ago was talking about how even like in the trucking industry, how soon they're going to have everything automated, or they're going to have robots driving. So I'm curious to see with you not having secretaries anymore, with you not needing the old bookkeeper that's been there for 25 years for the family business, where does that job go? If it goes to technology, where does that person go? Are we going to see now more entrepreneurs due to the fact that their jobs are being taken? Or are we going to see just people's shift, is, I guess, my question, man. I mean, look at COVID-19, dude. I mean, you either sink or swim. You swam. I mean, I remember, didn't you say you started like a COVID facility, like testing facility, as a means of like business?
Yeah, so we used to be in the wellness space. We
Yeah.
doing so, we went ahead and we dropped pods across Texas, and in those pods we had a trained nurse or trained representative where individuals would drive through and get COVID tested. And that's actually the whole thing we were talking about, Google and the power of Google. That's
Yeah.
what invested in Google My Business and just the organicity of it. And dude, we were cranking like 100, 150 tests a day per
Wow.
location, individuals just driving through. And so, we evolved with it. But, back to just before I go on, this is just like an interesting concept that people don't think about. You really like control as a business. They like people being there, but those days are over. I mentioned my book count, but my booking, the bookkeepers who work with us,
Yeah.
just cool roofs. So they do all my companies. So like I have an entrusted rep, of course, there that I work with that oversees everything. And then they're linked with my accountant, so or my CPAs and whatnot. So just everything runs flawless. But I find it interesting that someone's like, hey, I want to pay this person $700 to $800 a week to be in-house and doing all my bookkeeping. Well, we pay just for the roofing company. It's probably more now, who knows, but say it's $1,600 to $1,700 a month, maybe 15. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Right. And they do all the bookkeeping. Well, I don't pay insurance on them. I don't pay workers' comp. I don't pay anything that goes with it. And there's really not an immense amount of liability. The job's getting done because I've selected a company that their only value that they focus on and bring to the marketplace is bookkeeping.
Yeah.
So it's cool rather than like, and then guess what? They're constantly training people, hiring people, developing people in case someone puts in their 2-week notice. That's not my responsibility.
Not your employee. Yeah.
My employee. They handle all that. And I just find that fascinating. I was just trying to like stretch upon the point of how important it is to like, even if you have a business, there's so many people who are just like controllers. Like I want to do this. I want to take care of that. Do this. I'm like, delegate as much as possible to entrusted people to free you up to focus on what you do best. Because there's many business owners out there who have fantastic ideas and are very creative, but then instead of moving that inch by inch, they're getting lost in marketing. They're getting lost in finance. They're getting lost in bookkeeping. They're getting lost in, customer interaction. They're getting lost in everything. Well, it's like, put that in a position for other people to focus on so you yourself can focus on what really matters, and that's growth. My father always saw me. He's like, you want to be working on your business. You never want to be working in your business. Working and developing on it, never get stuck working in it. It's very valuable.
No, that's a super valuable little nugget right there. I mean, I think you're right, because even with my podcast, man, the big thing I'm starting, because essentially this is a business, right? A small business. If I want to make money off of it in the future and monetize it, and you're right, it's like I need to look into maybe one day, finding an editor, finding someone who's good at social media marketing. So to where the only thing I have to worry about one day is pressing record, making the content, making an entertaining show for my listeners, and just building these relationships. Because all the other stuff, you're right, it just causes a headache, and then you get clouded, and then you're like, wait, what was it gonna? What do I still have to do? Or man, I have this huge list I still need to do before my next episode. So I think you have a great point with that, man. And it's just insane. I remember reading something the other day, dude, that they were saying that 30% of entrepreneurs in the United States only have a high school degree, dude. And that's their sole purpose. And a lot of these businesses, like what you just said, the bookkeeping one, it's people probably who you're just like, what, I see a need for this in the market, and I'm going to expand on it and focus on it. So
I bet that statistic increases over the next decade or so.
Well, dude, what's even crazier? Get this. Since COVID-19 started, there's been 485 new billionaires in the world, or in the United States. Or in the world, yeah. And then 277 or 2,700 of them are like, there's only 2,700 billionaires in the world, and there's 400 and something made just this last year and a half. It's crazy, man. There's money to be made. We're in a great market, regardless of what the media tries throwing at you. I think the opportunity is out there if you're hungry. And I think a lot of people are just comfortable right now, especially with everything going on with, the food stamps. And obviously, man, everyone has their own circumstances. I get that. But it's just really interesting. It was a really interesting statistic to just read, and I was just blown away.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It makes sense because I've seen so many people grow within COVID. You know,
Yeah.
those who were involved, like one of my closest friends, Jackson,
Hmm.
uh, living with me at the time. So I like to keep, my house here. I'll have roommates come in and stay. And I like those who are just like super motivated, cut from the same cloth, own their own business or in
Yeah.
sales. And Jackson had a fitness company, Infinite Pursuit. I'll introduce you to him. Y'all need to do a podcast. He's dude, heart of gold. Guy's just amazing.
I'd love to, man.
I remember when he started his company, and he created a service-based industry and an app where he would have personal trainers go to apartment complexes and do classes and do training. And
Wow.
I forget when COVID hit, he had like 2,000 plus facilities that were utilizing his software and growing. Well, then I just remember like a 3 to 4 day process. He lost everything, and I simply adapt. Got his whole team together here in my conference room at my house that I'm sitting in.
Yeah.
Completely went virtual and started selling virtual classes to keep him going. And he got through the pandemic, and then got all his classes back plus some. And he just got acquired by a valet living company that's purchasing, all of his contracts or everything. But it's just, like, what's the point of that story? I shout people out because I find it fascinating how I could see most individuals might have given up. Like a lot did. A lot of
Yeah.
people just threw in the towel. Respectfully so. It's difficult times, but it'd be cool to make like a movie on a documentary of those who just completely evolved, made
Yeah.
it happen until life went back to normal.
Well, and then you're seeing all these people when life gets back to normal, dude. They are thriving, dude, now because they now have this huge market that is now virtual because that was the only thing that was available. And now they have those people who are like, I don't know, man, I'm not really big into looking at a computer and working out. I'd rather have that person in front of me. Now they have that option as well, which is awesome. It's a double-edged sword, man. I mean, I think just with business in itself, I mean, you either grow or you die, like you said. And that's the evolution of business, I think. So, I was gonna tell you a quick story. So yeah, my dude, similar situation. I was talking to my cousin, and he was telling me his neighbor had a great paying job, got laid off from COVID, and he was at home, and he's like, "Man, I want to work out." He's like, "But I can't go to the gym because they live in New York." He's like, "All the gyms are closed." So this guy's like, "I'm gonna look into getting some gym equipment," and all the stores are sold out. Obviously, he went to Alibaba, bought a bunch of equipment, saw how cheap it was, and was like, I'm going to make an online business because there's other people in my situation. Dude, this guy is crushing it now, like making over $150,000 a month on stuff that he's essentially drop shipping from Alibaba, dude. It's awesome to like. I love hearing these come up stories.
The drop shipping amazing. One of my closest
Oh,
friends, Isaac, up in Australia, was Zahara Fit, Zahara Swim. And I don't know the name of his new baby line, but his sister had a baby, so he created a baby line as well. And I mean, the amount of income that he is receiving, basically, again, he just brought the proper puzzle pieces together, the proper the manufacturing, the drop shipping, built the website. And I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, when you go viral with your podcast and I'm on here, and then they, drop be like Colt / Zahara, and we'll get like 10% or something. I'm kidding.
yeah. Your buddy's probably listening. He's like, "Where's he going with this?" And he's like, "Oh, 10%."
Yeah, no, I'm gonna get a phone call on WhatsApp.
Yeah. He's like, "Dude, what?"
Podcast. Thanks for the shout out, but we need to negotiate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, hey, it's the way people make money, and in business, I think the most exhilarating thing I've done at a young age is seeing we started an organization called the Entreminds group here in Austin, where
Okay.
we built it. We call it a group for you by you, because I realized like there's young business owners and professionals that didn't know how to make an LLC. They didn't know what an EIN number was. They didn't know, or they didn't have the access to the proper individuals that could help them grow, scale their business. So we created this group. Our biggest event was like 500 and something plus people that came out, and then COVID hit. We're going to bring it back here soon, probably end of July. But it's just the ideas that people have, the value that people want to bring to marketplace, getting people like that together and seeing how people are creating wealth at such a young age. This is not normal. Like, most people didn't start their journey until after they did 15 years at corporate or 20 years at corporate. But with access to knowledge and access to seeing how people are growing themselves, you just see this influx of wealth that's being created by these young individuals. It's just, it's fascinating to me.
It is, and that's why I'm trying to understand it through having people like yourself on here, because you're right. It's just crazy. So real quick, you want to tag any Instagrams for your company or any shout outs that you want, just so people can get a hold of you?
At my normal name, just Colt, Colt Moncla. So you can throw it out there. Just follow me, Colt Moncla, my company page. You'll see through there. But that's it, man. I'd love to just catch up. I'd love to meet you.
Absolutely, brother.
It's fun. Yeah. It's just been organic. We're having a good time.
And, we'll have to do it again, man. And hopefully next time. What's up?
A lot of people I need to introduce you to. Trey being one of them. He's in the conference room as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I'll shoot him a message on Instagram or something. But Colt, thanks again, man, for your time and just kind of helping me out with this episode, but also just kind of creating that mindset and mentality for people out there who are hopefully trying to do something along the same lines as what you're doing. I hope you have a great day, brother, and I hope to talk to you soon, man.
Much love, brother. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Thanks, man. You too. Peace.
Dude, I want that job.
Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today to Dude, I Want That Job, the educational podcast to help you find your desire and passion through other people's job experiences.